The heart of every man craves a great adventure, but life doesn't usually feel that way. Jesus speaks of narrow gates and wide roads, but the masculine journey is filled with many twists and turns. So how do we keep from losing heart while trying to find the good way when life feels more like a losing battle than something worth dying for? Grab your gear and come on a quest with your band of brothers who will serve as the guides in what we call the masculine journey. The masculine journey starts here now.
Welcome to the Masculine Journey radio show. As Sam would say if he was sitting behind this mic right now, we're so glad that you've joined us, and we mean that sincerely, particularly if you're a first-time listener and you're just catching on to the show. We do things a little differently. We use some movie clips, and we like to talk about some things affecting us. Right now we're talking about advanced words that we've gotten from God for the year 2018. You can also log on to our website, masculinejourneyradio.org, where we have all our past podcasts going back, Sam, probably 4 or 5 years now. And you can catch up on some shows and listen to us. We have a growing podcast following. You can also get us on Spotify and listen to the podcast there. And that's a good option for you as well. Around the table today, we have Big Jim's back with us, Jim Graham. We have Wayne back with us. Good to see you, Wayne. We have Andy. And we've got Sam on the phone somewhere near Calabash, North Carolina. Sam, have you stopped for seafood yet or what?
No, I'm about 4 miles away from Calabash, so not quite yet. Maybe a little bit later.
Okay. Well, we're certainly glad to have you here on the phone, and we'll certainly be looking forward to your thoughts on this. Now, we've been talking about advanced words. A couple of weeks ago, we opened this up, and we opened up with a word that I got towards the end of 2017, which was courage. And then last week, Big Jim shared his, which was listen. Listen. Correct? Mm-hmm. And how's that working for you, Jim?
What? I'm working on it.
Good
Work
comeback.
in progress.
Good comeback, Potsy. And then we got Andy, whose word is clarity. Wayne's going to be next week. So, Andy, kind of lead us off with where we're heading here, and then we're going to delve into a clip real quick as well.
Sure. I wanted to start 2018 right, and I wanted an advanced word. I've heard a lot of it discussed in the Ransom Heart message and listened to their podcast, and I felt like it was important to really ask God for that. I never really had, So, it wasn't necessarily in a prayer time, but it came to me in an odd time, and clarity was the word. And just a little bit about my story. I've few years into a broken relationship, and it's kind of held up a lot of other parts of my life, or I felt like it has, but yet on the other hand, it's given me an opportunity to really dig in and get closer to God and see what's going on with this interruption in my life. And so I just felt like, it's been a while, and there's times where I've tried to do things on my way, and God's blocked them and stopped me from probably making some mistakes. And it's just kind of led to the fact that I'm really hungry for some clarity, and I feel like he was gracious in saying that would come. Now, to clarify that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get the exact answer that I expect, or that there's not going to be other things around that I get clarity on, not just around that particular topic. So,
and we have in this first clip, we have someone, we've used clips from this movie before. Evan Almighty was certainly someone that was seeking some clarity from God.
Sure.
He really wanted to know what was going on. He kind of had his own agenda, and in his conversation with God, and we always enjoy hearing these, he wanted some clarity. Let's listen to this clip.
So, you're really him, aren't you?
You want more proof? I haven't done the pillar of salt thing in a while.
That's all right. I believe you. I don't understand why you chose me.
You want to change the world, son. So do I.
What? Why an ark? I mean, that's like flood territory. You wouldn't do that again. You wouldn't do that. Would you do that?
Let's just say that whatever I do because I love you.
Well, then you have to understand that this whole building an ark thing is really not part of my plans here. I need to settle into my house. I need to make a good impression at work. What?
Your plans.
What are you talking? We're talking about an ark, right? I mean, an ark? An ark is huge. I don't even know where I would begin.
Al, I hear that a lot. People want to change the world, don't know how to begin. You want to know how to change the world, son? One act of random kindness at a time. Build the ark. I'll tell you what, you build it, I'll fill it. And if anybody asks, tell them the flood's coming.
So, Sam, I have a question for you. Have you ever been in a conversation with God or seeking some clarity, and you might have brought up the words, my plans? Has he ever chuckled back to you like that before?
Not audibly. But I'm sure in his own way he has, because there's so many times that my plans are what I'm going to go do, and that's not always the way it's intended to be.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim, has that ever happened to you? Do you try? Let me phrase it this way: you try to jump into your plans, and then God says, "Whoa, it's not yours."
Yes, and it is often met with humor. I mean, some of the times that my plans have been thwarted by God, it really gets silly. Mm-hmm. It's almost yeah, go ahead, keep trying that, see how it works for you. But yeah, all the time. And as most of us humans, I tend to go with my plans A, and God's the fallback.
Yeah,
he doesn't do well with that.
So, Andy, the clarity man, what did that clip speak to you when you were listening to it?
It was really good, because just what he thought was a flood, he thought, well, he was like, well, you've already flooded there. You said you wouldn't do that. And if you've seen the movie, you know, I'm not going to worry about a spoiler alert. It's a 15-year-old movie. But
yeah.
So
you haven't seen it by now. I don't know where you've been.
The flood, I believe, was a busted dam or whatever, and the ark was needed for that. What I thought was funny, and talking about the plans and how, and I used my own example a few minutes ago, but if you've seen the movie, he's Evan's standing over there as he's talking with God, and he's got building an ark for dummies in his hand. You know, that was his plan. You know, so you know, definitely we do get ahead of God a lot of times and think he gives us something to do, but then we go to do it, and we try to do it without him. So
okay. So set up this. We're going to go to Wayne in a second, but set up this second clip for us real quick, because this has a kind of an Olympic theme to it, and tell us about this clip, what we're going to be listening to here in a moment.
Yeah, it's right before the U.S. plays Russia in, I believe, the 1980 Olympics, whenever they went on to beat, I think, Sweden. But it was a big deal to beat the Russians, and it was like there was no way that they can do it. And what he does, Herb Brooks, who was the coach for the team at the time, called out really the identity. And he tried to give them a clarity of who they are and that they were up for the task. He even goes in to say, you know, you were created for this. So listen to the clip.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys. That's what you've earned here tonight. One game. If we played them 10 times, they might win 9. But not this game. Not tonight. Tonight, we skate with them. Tonight, we stay with them. And we shut them down because we can. Tonight, we are the greatest hockey team in the world. You were born to be hockey players. Every one of you. And you were meant to be here tonight. This is your time. Their time is done. It's over. I'm sick and tired of hearing about what a great hockey team the Soviets have. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, Wayne, you don't necessarily look like you're old enough to remember that. I was actually in college in the 1980 Olympics, and I remember that. I hadn't heard the speech until the movie came along, but I remember what a big deal it was because the United States was not expected to beat them. So here you got the coach. It's kind of what I want to ask you about. He's kind of calling out their identity, as Andy was talking about, and telling them they have what it takes. How does that relate to clarity from God?
Yeah, to start that off with, I was 3 years old.
You were 3?
Yeah, so
I feel better already.
I missed that.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate that.
That's great. Got another reminder, Sam. I'm the oldest one.
Yeah, getting
close to
into identity. You know, who has God called each one of us to be? And
Yeah.
I don't think you can get that without diving into His Word. You know, the coach here, he was calling out their identity, telling them who they are. The first thing you have to do is really believe who God says you are, that you are a son, that you have been chosen since before the world began. It's diving into His Word and believing what He has said, to gain that clarity, that understanding of who you are.
Sam, how does that clip and what happened there with them winning? You probably remember that too. Well, you might have been a teenager or something, but did you hear that, the calling out and saying they had what it takes? How does that relate to getting clarity from God? Or am I being naive and that's crystal clear message?
Well, without identity, without understanding that, you cannot have clarity.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to have clarity in the absence of identity.
Yeah.
You got to walk solidly with what you know in God, because in that identity you walk in trust with God, which helps you get the clarity that you need. And I was a junior in high school that year.
Okay. Now I want to switch off to something real quick before we go to the break and ask you, because we talked in the pre-show about clarity must have focus. Is there any relationship to that in the clips we've heard so far, that we must have focus in order to gain clarity?
Yeah, in order to have clarity, you need to focus on something. Right? I can't be looking at 10 different things or have my mind in a bunch of different places and achieve the clarity that I want to have. And I think that's what the coach was doing. He was bringing them back to the point of clarity. You're hockey players. You're here to play a hockey game, and you can do this.
Yep.
Right? And then Evan Almighty, you want to change the world. You're here. Walk with me.
All right. Thank you for that. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back with more of the Masculine Journey radio show. Got a boot camp coming up. And for our podcast, tune in to masculinejourneyradio.org. Log on to that and check out the podcast. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Sam with Masculine Journey. I'm here with my son, Eli. We're going to talk about ways that you can help support the ministry. One way, you can go to smile.amazon.com. There's information on our website there on how to do that.
Then you can go to facebook.com, where you can click the donate button, or you can go to masculinejourneyradio.org. Once again, look for the donate button.
Or if you want to mail something in, mail it to P.O. Box 550, Kernersville, North Carolina, 27285.
I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. 2 for the price of 1.
Like everybody wants to give good gifts at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were thinking about how we could do that here at the Masculine Journey, and we couldn't think of a better gift to give anybody than a boot camp.
That perfect gift to say, boy, what can I give them? And the gift of giving them their heart back would be really kind of cool.
A boot camp BOGO, buy one and get one free. Offer good till the end of December.
Coming April 12th through the 15th. Go to masculinejourneyradio.org for a gift that lasts for eternity.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, bright
1972, Johnny Nash here on the Masculine Journey.
Not Johnny
radio
Cash
show.
like I thought.
Johnny Nash, and I'm telling you, I told the guys before, for 5 years I thought that was a woman. I thought the woman was Johnny. You picked out that song, do we all, does it come clear and the rain goes away and the sun comes out when we get clarity?
I only know the taglines, and then when I first started it and I looked up the lyrics, and it talks about I can see all. It doesn't say the obstacles removed. It says I can see the obstacles more clearly, which to me is clarity. And then also it talks a little bit about how it doesn't matter if the dark skies or whatever, they are kind of dissipated. So it really spoke to me. Yeah.
Well, you clarified that for me, Andy.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well,
and we're talking. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about clarity here on the Masculine Journey Radio Show. Andy's advanced word for 2018 from God. Hey, if you haven't gotten an advanced word from God, or you hadn't heard from God yet for 2018, I'm here to tell you that I don't think it's too late. But what you have to do is, Sam was talking about before the break, is we have to focus, and the way to focus is to get in touch with God, and that includes speaking to Him as well as Jim's word, listening to Him to give you some clarity, maybe share with you a word that He wants you to focus on in this year and what that may mean. And Jim, you had a story you said that was coming to you before the break you wanted to share.
Well, actually, it was based on your previous question, have I ever done anything that God laughed about? And Carolyn and I did a mission. We were clearly called to go to Alaska. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we started making the plans. Okay, this is why He wants us there, because she's in the medical field. She wanted to do that. And none of that what we ended up doing once we were there was totally the opposite of our plans.
Yeah.
But it was what God had laid out for us. We even thought we were going there indefinitely, and it was for 7 months.
Yeah.
So if you are focusing, we'll get back to that, bring it around, on God rather than your agenda or even what you think God wants you to do, you're going to be way ahead of the game.
Well, Andy, we know someone that was focusing through a series of movies in the 1970s. He must have been focusing because they had a lot of sequels to the first one. Rocky, the character Sly Stallone played, which, again, it's another one of those movies. If you haven't seen Rocky by now, I'm not sure where you've been.
Yeah.
But this is from Rocky, was it 2?
2, yep. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this clip we're about to listen to.
Yeah, this used to be one of my favorite, well, I guess it still is my favorite movie for inspiration. I'd watch the Rocky movies as a kid when I'd go out and run and stuff like that, and I wasn't a runner just to be like Rocky. And I stopped at the raw eggs. I thought that was cool until I actually did it. But anyway, it was really a powerful scene whenever his wife's having a baby. The birth comes, and he doesn't think she's going to make it through, and she makes it through, and they're reunited, and the baby's there and all. And he's ready to give up boxing so he doesn't go get hurt. She's concerned about him. He didn't have clarity. He didn't know what to do next. And basically, she gives him a word, and I'll let you pick up on the word in the clip.
And this is Adrian, right?
Yo, Adrian.
One thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win.
What are we waiting for? Take us!
Okay, so tell me what else happened there.
So they got to work after that. After she told him to win and he got his word on clarity, there was no holding him back. And I always liked those types. You always saw him in Rocky. There was always this point of conflict of whether he was going to go forward and face the giant. And he always, in those times whenever he made that decision, he was back and forth, he was scared and whatever it was. But eventually, I love to see it when he'd get into his workouts, whether he was climbing a mountain in Russia or whether it was, in his preparation or chasing the chicken. You remember that one? So it was always about, getting clarity and then going forward after that.
Okay. So Wayne, and you may want to talk about something entirely different, but does the clarity precede the focus to go out and do something, or are you focusing on something then hoping for the clarity? You get what I'm driving at? Does God, it seems like He could do it any way He wanted to, basically.
Yeah, mine usually starts off with the lack of clarity messing up all focus, right? Yeah, I don't know which way to go there. In my own life right now, I'm praying. I've been praying about some things for several weeks, trying to figure out which way to go, looking for that clarity. Where do I go now? Mm-hmm. But taking the steps of going out and seeking and searching, and again focusing on God, as Jim talked about, knowing that just as the first clip mentioned, everything he does because he loves me.
Yeah.
He loves me and he wants the best for me. So knowing that I'm not going to mess this up. He has his hand on me. He's moving me forward. I'm trusting in him, and yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah. So it's and I don't know, Andy. Tell me about clarity working. Sometimes I'm a big planner guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about this. I talked about it with the courage word for me, I guess. And so I want to set up a plan. I learned about business plans and having a plan. I call it a game plan for my own life. Joe Gibbs has talked about game plans.
Yep.
And I sit down, and I'm prone very often to sit down and work out my game plan and then try to get clarity from God as to, am I going in the right direction? It seems like maybe I'm doing that backwards.
Yeah, absolutely. I did that for years, and I got tired of it. And finally, I threw up my hands, and I think that's where I've gotten some breakthrough. I talk about clarity in this year and this word for this year, but I really got clarity in the kind of the tough times that I went through. In retrospect, I can look back. I got clarity both from the past, and I feel like I got a little bit more for the future, and more of the future will come. But a lot of it had to do, I was making plans that were blocked, and they were blocked probably that saved me a lot of heartache. So.
Yeah. By the way, folks, Sam had to leave us. He had something that he had to do before the show was going to be over, so I'd forgotten about that. That's why he dropped out. So, Jim, do you have something to share in regards to that or another thought?
Well, I wanted to sort of go back to Wayne and give you a brief science and math lecture here.
We're always up for that.
I know it. Focus is singular. If you have more than one, it's foci. And I think the big part of clarity and the way our eyeballs work, if we are trying to look at more than one thing, as Wayne said, everything is out of focus. Yep. But if you've got the one thing, and there's your lead in, as the focus, then you can get clarity on that. And then when that is God, he'll give you clarity on what you need to know.
Absolutely.
Not everything.
So first of all, you just blew my mind because I didn't even know there was a word foci. So I'm going to be taking that home with me today. But Wayne had a clip for us that we wanted to save for last because it really brings into focus, not foci. So set this up for us, if you will.
Yeah, so the next clip is from City Slickers. Mitch, who is, oddly enough, a radio guy.
I remember
Sells a lot of radio ads, and he's in that midlife crisis, trying to find clarity, trying to find what his life is about. And he goes out and with a group of people, and here he is. He meets this wild, rough, and tumble cowboy named Curly. So, yeah.
Cowboy leads a different kind of life when they were cowboys. They're a dying breed. Still means something to me, though. A couple of days, we'll move this herd across the river, driving through the valley. There's nothing like bringing in a herd.
See, now that's great. Your life makes sense to you. My wife basically told me she doesn't want me around.
Is she redhead?
I'm just saying.
How old are you? 38.
39.
Yeah. You all come off here about the same age, same problems. Spend about 50 weeks a year getting knots in your rope, and then you think 2 weeks up here will untie 'em for you. None of you get it. Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
Can still see that cigarette dangling from his mouth and looking at him saying, that's what you have to figure out. So, Wayne, where do we go with that?
And think about how frustrated Mitch was in that moment. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things I wanted to mention is, all the guys listening, all of us, that clarity is not always as clear as we would like it to be. We've all heard it said that God would not hide a matter from someone, and that's contradictory to his word. It actually says that it's the glory of God to hide a thing and the glory of kings to search a matter out.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage everyone not to get frustrated, but to focus on that one thing, right? That one thing being the intimacy with the Father.
And you brought up, too, before we went on, the word trust. that we have to trust. And I brought up this quote from the God's Not Dead 2 movie, which I was sick last weekend, folks. I'm watching all kind of movies, and he made the comment that the teacher's silent when you're taking the test. So Andy, kind of wrap this all up for us. How does that apply to us today? God could be testing us to see where our trust is. Is that possible?
Well, yeah, I think that's what got us here. I mean, I didn't want anybody to think that the clarity that I said that was going forward didn't have to do with me. I feel like I found that one thing, and it is Jesus. I mean, I've had Jesus in my life but there was a different focus that I needed, and a lot of it had to do with who was in control. You know, you can have a Savior, but if you don't have, if you're not allowing Him to truly be Lord and in control, then you're going to have problems. I think it's also interesting today. I went to the eye doctor, been having problems with contacts. I've been seeing 2 of everything, and I think they got my prescription right today. So I got all kinds of clarity going on.
Clarity. And I got to share something with you guys as we go off. I saw some clarity last week with my word courage, because I looked into the eyes of a newborn baby boy, my first grandchild, son Easton, and God said, courage to love others well. And that does take courage. But it was very clear when I looked at that little boy. So we hope we've scratched the surface for you on this advanced word. We got Wayne coming next week with his advanced word, so tune in for that next time. Thank you for joining us for the Masculine Journey Radio Show. Again, you can log on to our website, masculinejourneyradio.org, for podcasts and to find out more information about our upcoming boot camp, which is headed your way in April. Until then, as always, may God be with you until we meet again.